By midnight, I was standing in Hailey Barnes's parents' kitchen holding a tray of tiny forks, wearing somebody else's apron, while her aunt asked me for the third time why I had not married into the family yet. That was pretty much how every Barnes event went. The backyard looked like a party had exploded and then gotten tired. Half-empty glasses sat on the patio wall. Folded chairs leaned against the fence. The string lights were still glowing over the yard, soft and yellow, like they were pretending the night was not almost over. Somewhere near the grill, Hailey's dad was laughing too loudly with one of his brothers, and Hailey's mom was trying to send people home with wrapped pieces of cake. It was their 30th anniversary, and I was there because I was always there. Hailey and I had been best friends since college. Almost 8 years. Long enough that I had helped her move 3 times, met every cousin twice, driven her mom to pick up balloons once, and knew exactly which drawer held the good serving spoons. At some point, her family stopped asking why I was around and started handing me things. "Ryan," Hailey's mom called from the dining room. "Can you open one more bottle?" "See?" I said to Hailey's uncle, who was blocking the fridge with a paper plate in his hand. "Unpaid labor. That's my official title." He pointed at me with a meatball on a toothpick. "Sure. Keep telling yourself that." I laughed because that was easier than answering anything honestly. Hailey walked past me right then, wearing this dark blue dress that made the whole room seem unfair. Her hair was pinned up, but a few pieces had slipped loose around her face. She had been moving all night, checking on her mom, stealing hugs from relatives, fixing candles, smiling in pictures. She looked calm from far away, but I knew better. Her left hand kept touching the back of her neck, which meant she was running on fumes. She came up beside me, took the small triangle of cake off my plate, and ate half of it in one bite. "That was mine," I said. "You were not appreciating it. I was saving it. You were talking to Uncle Jeff. That cake was in danger." Before I could answer, she reached up and fixed the corner of my jacket like it annoyed her personally. She did it without thinking. That was the problem with Hailey. Half the things she did landed right in my chest, and she had no idea, or maybe she did and just refused to admit it. Across the kitchen, her sister Lily saw the jacket thing and rolled her eyes so hard I thought she might sprain something. "Subtle," Lily said. Hailey looked over. "What?" "Nothing. Just enjoying the live performance." I pointed a plastic fork at her. "You're 21 now. Try acting mature." "I am mature," Lily said, holding up a cup with too much confidence. "That's why I can identify nonsense when I see it." Hailey's dad came in behind her, clapped me on the shoulder, and leaned close like he was giving secret advice. "Ryan, son, when you two finally stop pretending, tell me first. I've got money riding on Labor Day." "Dad," Hailey said. "What?" "Your mother picked Christmas." I put both hands up. "I'm just here for trays and emotional support." "Exactly," Lily said. "Like a husband, but with worse benefits." The kitchen laughed. Hailey shook her head, but she was smiling too. Not fully. There was always this tiny hesitation when people teased us, like the joke got too close to a locked door. I knew that door. I had been standing outside it for years with my hands in my pockets, acting casual. The party slowly thinned out after that. Relatives kissed cheeks, gathered purses, forgot containers, came back for containers, then left again. Hailey's mom cried a little when everyone sang one last toast. Her dad kissed the top of her head, and Hailey leaned into my shoulder for half a second while we watched them. Just half a second. Still enough to mess with me. By the time the older crowd finally cleared out, the house had that strange after-party quiet. Not silent, just softer. The dishwasher was humming. Someone had left music playing low from a speaker near the back door. Kelsey, Hailey's cousin, sat on the counter eating frosting from a plastic knife. Lily had kicked off her heels and was leaning against the island like she was the host of a very badly organized talk show. Hailey opened a cabinet and pulled down 4 small glasses. "Bad idea," I said. "Probably," she said. But Mom hid the good desserts, and I know where. Lily slapped the counter. That's leadership. We ended up around the island with leftover cake, little lemon bars, and a bottle Hailey's dad had brought out earlier and then forgotten. Kelsey talked for 10 minutes about a coworker who kept microwaving fish. Lily kept interrupting with questions that had nothing to do with the story. Hailey stood beside me, close enough that her arm brushed mine every time she reached for another lemon bar. Then her phone buzzed. She looked down, frowned, and sighed. Work. At midnight? I asked. Apparently disasters love anniversaries. She pointed at Lily. Do not finish all the cake. I make no promises. Hailey stepped into the hallway, phone to her ear. Kelsey hopped down from the counter a minute later and said she had to check on her ride, which left me in the kitchen with Lily, the humming dishwasher, and a bottle that had made her way too honest. She stared at me for a second. What? I said. Lily narrowed her eyes like she had just solved a case. You seriously don't know? I looked at Lily and tried to laugh, because that was what I usually did when one of the Barnes got that look. What am I supposed to know? I asked. Lily blinked slowly, like she was deciding whether the words in her head needed permission to leave. Then she leaned across the island, lowered her voice, and somehow still managed to sound loud. That every guy Hailey dates gets compared to you. The kitchen went still. Not actually still, I guess. The dishwasher kept humming. The music outside kept playing some soft old song through the speaker by the back door. A cabinet upstairs closed. But inside my head, everything stopped at once. I stared at Lily. She stared back for about 2 seconds, proud of herself, and then her face changed. Oh, she whispered. Oh, I should not have said that. I set down the tiny glass I had been holding. Carefully. Like it might break from the wrong movement. What do you mean? I asked, even though I understood every word. Lily put both hands over her mouth, then took them away because apparently even drunk guilt could not fully defeat her need to keep talking. I mean, no. I mean nothing. Forget I said that. That is not really a forgettable sentence. I know, she said, looking toward the hallway. That's the problem. My heart was doing something stupid now. Fast and heavy, like I had just run up the stairs. I told myself not to make it bigger than it was. Lily was tipsy. Lily liked drama. Lily once told a waiter he had the energy of a divorced magician. She said things. But then she looked at me with this strange softness, and that was worse. Ryan, she said, quieter. Come on. Come on, what? You're not dumb. No, but I am trying very hard to be right now. She gave this small, sad laugh. Yeah. You both do that. Before I could ask anything else, Hailey walked back into the kitchen with her phone in her hand. She stopped just inside the doorway. That was the thing about Hailey. She could read a room faster than anyone I knew. She saw Lily standing too straight, me standing too still, the untouched glasses on the island, and the whole mood sitting there like smoke. What happened? She asked. Nothing, Lily said immediately. Hailey looked at her. That was the least convincing nothing I've ever heard. It was a normal nothing. Lily. I said nothing. You said something, Hailey said, and now her eyes moved to me. Ryan? I could have saved it. I had saved awkward moments before. I could have made a joke about Lily accusing me of eating the last lemon bar. I could have knocked over a napkin holder and turned myself into the distraction. That was my role. Keep things easy. Keep things moving. Protect the line. But the line had already moved. I rubbed the back of my neck and said, she said something she probably didn't mean to say. Lily lifted one finger. I meant it. I just didn't mean to say it out loud. Hailey closed her eyes for half a second. And there it was. Not confusion. Not surprise. Recognition. My stomach dropped. Hailey opened her eyes and looked at Lily in a way that made Lily shrink about 4 inches. Go drink water, Hailey said. I have water. Then go drink different water somewhere else. But, Lily. Lily grabbed a bag of chips from the counter like she needed supplies for exile. She looked between us and whispered, I'm sorry. But then she ruined it by adding, kind of. Upstairs, Hailey said. Lily left, bumping the doorway with her shoulder on the way out. Then it was just me and Hailey. The kitchen felt too bright. Too familiar. I had stood in that same room 100 times. I knew the little crack in the tile near the sink. I knew the drawer that stuck unless you lifted it first. I knew Hailey liked to stand with one hip against the island when she was pretending she was relaxed. She did that now. Only she was not relaxed. The tequila glasses sat between us. Outside, the string lights flickered a little in the dark window, and for some reason I could not stop looking at their reflection. Hailey placed her phone face down on the counter. What exactly did she say? She asked. I looked at her. Hailey. I need to know how bad it was. It wasn't bad. Ryan. She said every guy you date gets compared to me. Hailey's mouth parted slightly, but no words came out. I waited for the denial. I almost wanted it. A laugh, a head shake, a quick, she's drunk, ignore her. Something clean. Something that would put the room back where it belonged. But Hailey just looked down at the counter. And because I apparently had no survival instinct left, I asked the only question that mattered. Was she wrong? Hailey stayed quiet long enough that I heard someone upstairs turn on a faucet. Then she said, no. It was one small word. It did more damage than a whole speech. I let out a breath I had not realized I was holding. My hand was resting on the island, and I pulled it back because suddenly even standing near her felt different. Hailey looked up at me then. Her face was guarded, but not cold. More like she had been caught holding something fragile and did not know whether to hide it or hand it over. Lily was tipsy and tactless, she said. And I'm going to make her regret it tomorrow. But she wasn't wrong. No. I nodded once, even though I had no idea what I was agreeing with. Hailey gave this small, tired smile that did not really reach her eyes. It's not like I sit there with a checklist, she said. I don't go on dates and grade people against you like some awful little survey. I didn't think that. You kind of looked like you did. I'm mostly trying to keep my brain from catching fire. That almost got a real smile out of her. Almost. She folded her arms, then unfolded them right away, like even her own body language felt too defensive. I compare them to how I feel around you, she said. That's the problem. I did not move. She looked past me toward the backyard door. With you, I don't have to translate myself. I don't have to explain every weird look or prove why something matters. You just notice. You know when I want to leave before I say it. You know when I'm pretending I'm fine. You make things easy without making me feel small. My chest tightened. Hailey, I said, but I did not know what was supposed to come after her name. She looked back at me, and now the guard slipped, just for a second. And after years of that, she said, voice softer, Normal started feeling wrong. I stood there in her parents' kitchen, surrounded by cake crumbs and empty plates, and all the years we had wasted being careful. Then Hailey gave one small helpless shrug. You ruined normal for me, Ryan. For a second, I honestly did not know what to do with that. Hailey stood across from me in her parents' kitchen, arms close to her body now, like she had said too much and wanted to pull the words back. I had imagined hearing something like that from her more times than I wanted to admit, but in my head it had always been cleaner. Less cake crumbs. Less dishwasher noise. Less of her little sister probably listening from the stairs. You ruined normal for me, Ryan. I looked down at the counter and let out a quiet laugh, but there was no joke in it. That's a lot to put on a guy who spent 20 minutes fixing a cake with toothpicks. Hailey's mouth twitched. You did save the cake. The cake was leaning. I acted bravely. You always do that. What? Make it funny before it gets too real. That landed harder than I expected. I leaned back against the sink and nodded, because she was right. I had done that for years. Every time someone teased us. Every time her hand stayed on my arm too long. Every time I drove home from her apartment at 1 in the morning after we had talked for hours on her couch, telling myself that being trusted was enough. Okay, I said. Then no joke. Hailey watched me carefully. I swallowed and asked, "Why didn't you ever say anything?" She looked away. Not in a dramatic way. Just toward the back door, where the string lights outside were blurred in the glass. Her reflection looked tired and beautiful and nervous. "Because saying it would change everything," she said. "It already sounds like everything was changed." No. We were good at being almost something. That one sentence made the whole kitchen feel smaller. She looked back at me. We had this life that was close enough to feel real, but safe enough to deny. Tuesday takeout. Airport rides. You showing up when my car made that awful noise. Me calling you when your dad had that health scare. Birthdays. Family dinners. Random grocery trips where we bought nothing we went in for. I smiled a little despite myself. That was 1 time. That was 7 times. Maybe 5. Ryan. Fine. 7. Her smile faded, but not in a sad way. More like the weight came back in. "You're not a guest in my life," she said. "That's what scared me. You're built into it. When something good happens, I want to tell you first. When something weird happens, I take a picture and send it to you without thinking. When I'm upset, I don't even decide to call you. My hand just does it." I could feel my throat tighten, so I looked at the floor for a second. She kept going, quieter now. "So if I told you, and I got it wrong, I wouldn't just lose some guy I liked. I'd lose you. The person. The everyday part. And I did not know how to risk that. I had spent years thinking I was the only one being careful. I had worn restraint like it was some noble thing. Like staying quiet meant I was protecting her from my feelings. Turns out she had been standing on the other side of the same locked door. "I stayed quiet for the same reason," I said. Hailey's eyes moved back to mine. "I didn't want to make you uncomfortable," I said. "I didn't want to become that guy who turns friendship into a problem because he can't keep his feelings under control. Every time I thought about saying something, there was a reason not to. You were seeing someone. Or you were stressed. Or your mom invited me to dinner and I thought, yeah, great idea, confess feelings between salad and dessert." Hailey gave a soft laugh. "And then when there wasn't a reason," I said, "I made one." I told myself protecting what we had was the grown-up thing to do. Her face softened. "We were protecting the same thing," she said. "Write in the comments, were Hailey and I right to protect the friendship for so many years, or did we waste time by being too afraid to say the truth? From opposite sides. Like idiots. Very loyal idiots." That actually made her laugh, and the sound loosened something in my chest. Not enough to make everything easy, but enough to remind me we were still us. Even in the middle of whatever this was becoming. Then Lily's voice came from the doorway. "I brought chips." Hailey closed her eyes. "Lily." Lily stood there in socks, holding a family-size bag against her chest like a peace offering. "Before you yell, I just want to say I may have fixed history. You were supposed to be upstairs. I was upstairs adjacent. That is not a place. It is when you're emotionally invested." I rubbed both hands over my face. "How much did you hear?" Lily looked offended. "Almost nothing." Hailey pointed at her. "Okay, some things," Lily said. "But only because this house has vents, and you both speak in sad little movie voices." "Go away," Hailey said. "I support you. Go support us from another floor." Lily put the chips on the counter, gave me 2 thumbs up, and backed away. "You're welcome, future people." Hailey grabbed a dish towel and threw it at her. Lily dodged badly, laughed, and disappeared again. For about 3 seconds neither of us said anything. Then Hailey's mom appeared in the doorway wearing slippers and a cardigan over her party dress. She looked from Hailey to me, then to the abandoned chips, then back to Hailey. "Oh," she said. "Mom," Hailey said quickly. "Nothing is happening." Her mom gave the smallest smile I had ever seen. "Of course. I mean it. I'm only getting water." She crossed to the fridge, filled a glass, and on her way out patted my arm like she had known something before I did. "Good night, Ryan." "Good night, Mrs. Barnes." She paused. "After 8 years, I think you can call me Karen." Then she left. Hailey stared at the doorway. Great. Perfect. Very normal. I looked at her. I mean, apparently I ruined that. She turned back to me, and this time her smile stayed. We started cleaning because neither of us knew how to stand still anymore. I rinsed plates. She packed dessert into containers. I wiped the island while she found missing forks under napkins. It should have been ordinary. We had cleaned kitchens together before. But now every small movement felt different. Her shoulder brushed mine at the sink, and we both noticed. My hand reached for the same towel as hers, and we both stopped like teenagers. "This is ridiculous," she said under her breath. "Yeah. Are we going to be weird now?" "Probably for a little while." She looked up at me. "But not bad weird," I said. That seemed to matter to her. When the kitchen was finally clean, the house had gone quiet. The music outside had stopped. The last dishes were stacked. The tequila glasses had been rinsed and turned upside down beside the sink, like evidence we had tried to be responsible after all. Hailey stood by the back door with her hand on the knob. "Come outside with me," she said. I nodded, and she opened the door. Cool air moved into the kitchen. We stepped out together into the backyard, under the string lights, and for the first time all night, no one followed. The backyard felt different without all the people in it. An hour earlier, it had been loud with relatives and music and Hailey's dad telling the same story 3 different ways. Now it was just the two of us, the leftover chairs, the covered food trays, and the string lights glowing over the patio like they had been waiting for us to stop being cowards. Hailey walked a few steps ahead of me, then turned around near the edge of the patio. The dark blue dress moved softly around her knees. Her shoes were still off, hooked in 2 fingers, and she looked more like herself that way. Less party version. More Hailey. Tired, sharp, beautiful, trying to act normal while nothing about us felt normal anymore. She looked up at the lights, then back at me. "I'm trying to figure out the right thing to say," she said. "You don't have to get it perfect. That's very generous from a man who has had 8 years to prepare." I gave a small laugh. "Yeah, and somehow I'm still doing badly." "You're not." The way she said it made me stop smiling. For a few seconds neither of us moved. Behind us, the house was quiet. A lamp was still on in the kitchen, and through the window I could see the clean counters, the upside-down glasses, the bag of chips Lily had abandoned like a calling card. I put my hands in my pockets because I did not trust them anywhere else. "I've loved being your best friend," I said. "I need you to know that first." Hailey's face changed, but she did not interrupt. "I never treated it like some waiting room," I said. "I wasn't hanging around your life hoping you'd wake up one day and notice me. Being close to you mattered. It still matters." "I know," she said quietly. "But somewhere along the way, I wanted more. And I knew it. I knew it for a long time." She looked down for a second, then back up at me. "I knew enough to suspect it." That caught me off guard. "You did? Ryan." She gave me a soft, tired smile. "You're good at hiding. You're terrible at not caring." I let out a breath and looked toward the fence, because that was way too accurate. She stepped closer, not all the way, just enough to make the space between us feel chosen instead of accidental. "You'd remember things I mentioned once," she said. "You'd show up with soup when I said I was tired, not even sick, just tired. You'd leave parties early with me without making me feel like I ruined your night. You'd notice when I got quiet before anyone else noticed I had stopped talking. That's just knowing you. No, she said. That's loving me carefully. I looked at her then. There it was. Not a joke. Not a family tease. Not Lily yelling from a staircase. Just Hailey, saying the thing plain enough that I could not dodge it. My voice came out lower than I expected. Then let me stop doing it carefully from across the line. Hailey went still. I took one step closer. If every guy gets compared to me, I said, then I want the chance to stop being the comparison and actually be the one. She did not answer right away, and that silence was the longest part of the whole night. I could hear leaves moving somewhere behind the fence. I could hear my own heartbeat. I could hear Lily laughing faintly from upstairs, probably at something on her phone, completely unaware that she had kicked open a door and left us standing in it. Hailey's eyes went shiny, but she smiled. What happens now? She asked. That question could have turned into a mess so easily. We could have blamed the tequila, or the party, or Lily, or the strange soft feeling that comes after midnight when everyone is tired and honest. We could have kissed right there and pretended tomorrow would explain itself. I did not want that. Not with her. I want to take you on a real date, I said. Her smile grew a little. A real date. On purpose. Not as your family's favorite unpaid helper. Not as the safe guy cleaning the kitchen after midnight. Not as the person your dad has apparently been betting on since Labor Day. Christmas too, she said. Right. Not as that either. I held her eyes. As me. A man who wants to be with you. Hailey pressed her lips together, and for 1 second she looked like she might laugh and cry at the same time. Then she nodded. Yes. Just like that. One word, and the whole backyard seemed to exhale. Yes? I asked, because apparently I needed to hear it twice. Yes, Ryan. She stepped closer. I want that. I lifted my hand, then paused near her face, giving her room to move away if she wanted to. She did not. She leaned into my palm like she had been tired of waiting too. So I kissed her. It was not wild or messy. It was not some dramatic movie moment with music swelling from nowhere. It was warmer than that. Slower. Clearer. Her hand came to the front of my shirt, not grabbing, just holding me there, and I felt years of almost pull tight and finally break. When we moved apart, Hailey stayed close. We are never going to hear the end of this from Lily, she said. No, I said. She's going to be unbearable. She already is. Yeah, but she earned a little of it. Hailey laughed against my shoulder, and this time when she leaned there, I did not pretend it meant less than it did. A month later, Lily started calling herself the architect of destiny, usually while pointing at us across dinner like she had personally invented romance. She was impossible about it. But Hailey and I went on one real date. Then another. Then more. And the strangest part was that it did not feel sudden. It did not feel fragile. It felt like Tuesday takeout, airport rides, family kitchens, late-night calls, and every small thing we had built without naming it. It felt like we had finally stopped calling it something smaller,